Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
In this episode, we are talking the future of the New York Yankees, prospects that you need to have on your radar before the 2026 season. We are joined by Josh Norris of Baseball America, which just unveiled its list of top Yankees prospects, and a few of the names may surprise you. Coming up next, this is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's our annual prospect episode with Josh Norris of Baseball America. Josh, I don't know if you remember this, but the last time that we had a conversation, Rafi Devers got traded during the middle of the conversation. And with about a week to go until the winter meetings, I say there's a non-zero chance that we get some action again during this call.
I hope not, because our transaction deadline for the handbook is after the Rule 5 draft. If you wait until after the Rule 5 draft, then everything makes our lives a lot easier.
In this episode, we are going to break down several Yankees prospects that we need to talk about headed into next year. Among them, George Lombard Jr. We're going to talk about Spencer Jones and find out if he's legit, if the power numbers can translate. We're going to talk about the return of Chase Hampton. We're going to talk about Elmer Rodriguez, who used to be known as Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, but I think it was a unanimous decision that we've decided he's dropped the Cruz because that's what it's showing up like everywhere. And then we're going to look way ahead at Dax Kilby, and I'm going to get Josh's pick for a general prospect to break out this year. So let's begin with George Lombard.
I proclaim this the Summer of George!
First pick a couple years ago, 26th overall pick. He looked incredible in spring training last year. He's got the prototypical shortstop body, 6'2", 190, and his defense has been fantastic. In what I've seen him, he's known for having a high baseball IQ. I saw him hit for some power. He didn't hit for a lot of power in the minor leagues, and he only hit 236 through his first two minor league campaigns. How does the industry view George Lombard Jr. at this point? And is he still looking like a stud, or is he starting to kind of feel like, he might not live up to expectations after a couple of down years statistically?
Well, a couple. He had one half of a down year statistically, I think. Like he annihilated at high A this year and then, struggled as a 20-year-old in Double A, which will happen from time to time. That's natural. I said it in a chat this morning, like, if you take the best college sophomore and throw him in the Eastern League, he's going to struggle. I think right now the industry isn't as high on him as it was, but I think it's still like Hall of Very Good sort of type player, like a 55 grade player instead of a 60 or a 65. So a really good, maybe one-time all-star player because of the polish that comes with his skill set. There's stuff to improve. They're pretty candid about the fact that he needs to improve his bat path to get to velocity up in the zone, needs to get stronger, needs to improve his bat speed. But there's a lot of skills there. Now he's got to get, more of his man body to accentuate those and turn them into tools.
Who would you say has a better chance of being the Yankee shortstop in 2027? George Lombard Jr. or Anthony Volpe?
Well, first of all, let's hope we have a 2027 season.
That's a great point.
I'd say Volpe.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. I'll say this. Lombard looked really, really good to me in spring training. He's got some legitimate power. You don't see 19-year-olds hit balls off the scoreboard at Yankee Stadium, and he did it a couple of times. Does seem to have some legitimate pop in his bat. What do you know about the defense and the high baseball IQ kind of scouting reports? Do those things kind of live up to the hype?
Yeah, he could be a good shortstop. On our future lineup, I moved him, I think, to third base, just because I can't put Volpe and Kilby and Lombard all at the same position. They've all got to move around. Is that going to be their realistic infield in 2029? No, but that's kind of how you have to play the exercise. I think he has a chance to play shortstop. Is he ever going to be, an Ozzie Smith or anything out there? No, but he'll be a competent big league shortstop who, can handle the position just fine and provide a little value out there.
What do you think is the big standout skill for him? Like if you were to give somebody the elevator pitch on George Lombard Jr., how would you describe him as a player?
Some of his parts. Like the only plus tool on the card right now is run. It's a bunch of fives and 155. So, it's not, again, there's not one part of his game that's going to jump off the card like, every part of the game for a Bobby Witt Jr., but he's going to do a lot of things well and almost nothing poorly. So that's what you're looking at. I know that's not sexy. I know that's not what anybody wants to hear, but it's a guy who sticks in the big leagues for a long time.
And it should be noticed that these guys are all prospects, and prospects can go in any number of directions, right? Nobody expected. We were talking before the call about Cam Schlittler, how he just kind of took off this year, right? He just kind of skyrocketed after he found the velocity. Anybody who has the overall skill set of somebody like George Lombard Jr., something clicks, you never know. They might take off. Another guy I want to talk about. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying he's 20 years old. He's not done developing. He doesn't have his man's body yet.
Right.
How that
Neither
goes,
do I, and I'm 42.
I'm 40 and I've got two men's bodies. So based on how that works. But yeah, there's so many variables that we don't know right now. Like I don't know what he's done since the season ended. I don't know how much good weight he's stacked on. I don't know if he's made swing changes. It's a quiet period right now too. So I don't know. We'll see what he looks like in spring training. But there's a lot of good there, and I understand, and I saw a lot of sentiment this morning in the chat or this afternoon. There was a little panic about kind of his rough start at Double-A this year, a rough finish at Double-A, which is whatever, it happens. He finished rough at High A last year too. If he starts like a house of fire in 2026, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Nice. Well, let's talk about somebody else who's gotten a lot of big expectations because he's a very big man.
Drop bombs.
Spencer Jones, who hit 35 home runs and drove in 80 runs this year in the minor leagues. He had 179 strikeouts, though. Good speed, stole 29 bases. My question to you is Spencer Jones a guy who's on the verge of taking a major step, or is he on the verge of losing his prospect status, or both? He radically altered his stance last year, and he went on one of those tears like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with this. He went absolutely ballistic for about 3 weeks there, where it seemed like he was hitting a home run every day, and these weren't wall scrapers. He was hitting the ball 440, 450 feet. It seemed like about every 5 or 6 at-bats. So where is Spencer Jones right now in the eyes of the industry in terms of a prospect?
Super high risk. I understand he can do what he did in that little stretch before the trade deadline, where he went, he became the best hitter in the sport. I would caution, I watched all those home runs, and a lot of them were like 89, 92 down the middle. Like, he got a lot of cookies, and he knew what to do. He did take Andrew Painter deep on decidedly not a cookie, but there was a lot of noise in that whole sample there. And they'll admit that even during that sample size, there was not a whole lot of great swing decisions. And from a personal, standpoint, I put him out this morning. He's number 6 in the system with a 30 hit tool. And that's a future grade. Like right now, if you put him in the big leagues, it'd be a 20 hit tool. And he just needs to make more contact. That's really the long and short of it. The stat I have in here was among players, I believe, with 100 or more plate appearances, his 42.6% whiff rate, according to our data, was tied for the very worst in the sport, which, it's not what you want.
And just for people, I was going to say, just for people who
go ahead.
Just for people who don't understand like the scouting grade system, what is a 20 hit tool, right? It's a 20 to 80 scale. So 20 would be basically bottom of the list.
Yes, not basically. It would be the worst of the worst. You're hitting 100s.
Okay, so not even Joey Gallo, really, just but with that kind of power.
No. Again, I've said this before when that name comes up. Joey Gallo never struck out 200 times in the minor leagues.
Wow.
Spencer Jones did that last year. And if he doesn't have the back injury this past year, he might have done it again. So this is a bigger concern for Spencer Jones than it ever was for Joey Gallo. And unlike Gallo, or unlike Jones, Gallo had elite outfield defense and athleticism. I mean, I think we talked about this last time I talked. I saw Joey Gallo play shortstop and make the Jeter jump throw. Like, that's the kind of athlete we are talking about. I've seen him play center field. I've seen him do all sorts of things. That's not the player that Spencer Jones is.
Well, what about Spencer Jones on defense? His, ability to play center field, his speed. What about the other tools that come along with Spencer Jones?
He's a cromulent, to use a word that's not a word, center fielder with an average arm. I mean, you've got better outfielders. If you read the list this morning, the best center field defender in the system right now is Dylan Lewis. Like, he's a grade above Spencer Jones in terms of fielding, speed. Like, Jones, I think his best spot is going to wind up in a corner.
Okay, well, I don't want to depress Yankees fans too much, but it's okay. I do want to talk about another guy who might get their hopes up a little bit. This is a guy that I am very interested in seeing how he develops, and this is Chase Hampton. Now, he was supposed to make his debut last year, probably would have made his debut last year had he not gotten injured. This is a guy who had pretty good numbers in the minor leagues, 208 batting average against, 161 strikeouts in 125 and a third innings, coming off of Tommy John surgery. So, he's not fresh in a lot of fans' minds. Nobody got to watch him at all last year. Tell us about Chase Hampton as a pitcher. Is he that next breakthrough guy?
We'll see. I wrote this morning in chat that I hope this surgery cleared up whatever else ailed him. Only time I've ever seen him personally was in 24, and he looked terrible. Like, if I didn't know who he was, I would have, if I were a scout, I would have put an organizational player grade on him. Like, that's how bad it was. But now that then you get the surgery and you understand, okay, there was probably something behind that problem. At his best, I believe he was in the top 100. He might have been pretty good in the top 100. But then he got the arm injury, and I believe there was a leg injury and a core injury and all sorts of things. And part of the reason he's in the 10 right now is just because the Yankees have graduated guys like Dominguez and Warren and Schlittler, and they've traded, I think, 12 guys at the deadline. Like, if they didn't do anything at the deadline, first of all, there would be pitchforks still lined up at Brian Cashman's office. But you'd have a guy like Griffin Herring, who was among the minor league leaders in ERA in there, or a guy like Rafael Flores, or maybe a Parks Harbor, or a Rock Riggio in there. It's just not a very deep system right now. There's some good stuff at the top, but when I got down past 8, I was like, okay, I don't have a lot of choices right now. I've got a few names, but like nobody who really performed or was healthy or anything like that. So I was like, you know what? They protected him on the 40-man roster, which tells me they think he has a chance to impact the big league roster this year. I think he's going to be delayed past opening day while he still rehabs, yada, yada, yada. But if they think he's got a chance to play in the big leagues this year, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, well, we need somebody to break through. Here is another guy that we can talk about. Elmer Rodriguez, 21 years old, 2.59 career ERA in the minor leagues. Now, he was acquired from the Red Sox as part of the Carlos Narvaez deal. In terms of pitching prospects, he's the guy that I watch the most highlights of. I think his stuff is electric. I like those kind of lanky guys who throw hard. I don't know, something about those guys. Like it reminds me of like a Pedro or something like that. What are your thoughts on Elmer Rodriguez and where he stands as a prospect headed into 2026?
Well, he ain't Pedro, because Pedro was 5'7", and this guy's 6'4". So there's a big difference there. But he's got a lot of stuff. I mean, there's the only plus I have listed on his card, or 2 pluses, are control and the fastball, which is great. But he also doesn't have anything below a 50 here. He's got a huge arsenal, like a lot of prospects nowadays. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitches in that mix: fastball, curveball, slider, sweeper, cutter, splitter. So he's got a lot of answers. And there's a two-seamer in there too, but we don't separate out two-seamers. So I think it's a 7-pitch mix. He has a lot of answers for a lot of problems. And I do think he sees the big leagues at some point this year. He's got to get a handle on the big league baseball first. He's got to get a handle on the auto strike zone, which has messed with many a pitcher of his stature. So there's a couple small hurdles in his way, but I do think the guy has a chance to get to the big leagues this year, sometime in the summertime, and impact the big league roster. And I said this morning, upside of like a 3 starter. So
Okay.
it's not like a Schlittler, but nobody this time last year, if you told me Schlittler was going to do what he did toward the end of the season, everybody would have said you were insane. But
yeah, I don't think anybody saw that coming. I mean, we were talking about the Schlittler thing about how he suddenly developed velocity, and you were telling me that guys just develop velocity now. It's just something that happens. What does Elmer Rodriguez need to develop? Is it just the secondary stuff, basically?
No, it's not even that. It's just how to use what he has and how to learn how to set up hitters instead of outstuffing them. How to you use this pitch in this count and that pitch in this count, and just kind of putting the final coats of polish on himself before he's ready. There's lots of stuff that just needs to come together that really makes a big difference in those small moments. Like sometimes you'll hear something that will say like, he needs to field his position better. Okay, like that. I don't think I need to tell you when that has come up in the recent past. These things make a big difference.
Are they still teaching Yankees pitchers
many
how to cover first?
I mean, it came up. Let's. I mean, I'm not even going to say what happened to Orion Kirkering in the playoffs, like PFP, first day of spring training. There's all sorts of things that need to be done that aren't necessarily things you see on a scouting card or you see on highlights or things like that in the future. So he's close, but I wouldn't expect him, in April.
Okay, so there is somebody who's, probably a little bit further away, but I got to talk about this guy because of the way you wrote about him. Dax Kilby. I have a nephew named Dax. I love that name. And apparently this guy has some freakish bat-to-ball skills. Tell us who the Yankees drafted here in Dax Kilby.
They got a stud. I mean, I'll put it this way. Like, my Rolodex is filled with more scouts than you guys can imagine. And when this guy started playing in the Florida State League, I got texts from not 1, not 2, but 3 scouts from outside organizations, not affiliated with the Yankees at all, saying, hey, you have him way too low on your list right now. We slotted him in at like 15 or something because he wasn't super high on our draft board. But he started, I had a conversation the other day with a scout who puts it in a lot simple terms. Well, what does this guy do that's really stands out? Well, he hits the ball hard and he hits the ball often, which, it's really as simple as that. He's got a really strong ability to not swing and miss and not chase. There's going to be a lot of guys who don't swing and miss, but they will chase a lot. And a chase doesn't necessarily mean a miss. It means, like, if you guys remember a guy that named Williams Estudio, he could hit anything, but he would chase a lot of stuff out of the zone. It'd be weak contact. You just don't get a lot of swing and miss. This guy, when he swings, he has the ability to make contact. He has the ability to damage, and he's a freak athlete. To hear these guys on the inside gush over him is something I haven't seen or heard in a while. The question here, will Dax get to Double-A this season? I'm not going to go all out and say yes, but the way the minor league calendar works, if he continues, I think he starts back at Low-A. If he hits there and hits at High-A, then he could get to Double-A for that cameo. Like the studs in the last few years do get to Low-A for the last couple weeks or months, depending on who's in the playoffs and who's not. And it's usually just to get accumulated, familiar with a summer set or something like that. Here's where you're going to live. Here's where the Wawa is, whatever. All those good things. But it wouldn't be out of the question for a guy like that to get to Double-A by season's end. I wouldn't bank on it.
Well, I'm very excited to see a Yankee prospect with a left-handed swing that's a contact hitter again.
And I'll say this. The way I wrote the list, it was intentionally. I said at the end of the summation that there's a non-zero chance that this guy is the number one prospect by the end of the year in the system. I mean, that's assuming, Rodriguez and Lombard stay in the system. This guy could leap both of them. There was 10% of me that wanted to put him number one right now. And
Wow.
if you brought me into their board and just showed me their little magnetic depth chart board, there'd be a non-zero chance he'd be at the top of it right now. Like, that's how effusive their praise was over this young man. But
Wow.
in the end, what I said was, okay, Lombard has mastered low A, and he's done really good things at high A. He's got a chance to be pretty good too. I don't want to just throw what he and Rodriguez have done in the trash immediately and jump him.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see him.
Too. I think you'll see him in the spring breakout game at the very least.
Do you think that he's going to hit for more power as he kind of puts on muscle? I mean, he looks like he's a pretty lanky kid, but generally, if you hit the ball hard like that, the power will come.
I mean, he hits the ball hard now. I'm trying to bring up his data right now for you. It's pretty darn good. Let me just. And I know this is great podcasting, but it's not a slap hitter right now. It's a guy who, when he hits it, he hits the barrel and he produces exit velos that are better than you'd expect for a guy his age and size. So let's see, I'm bringing up the Yankees on our little cheat sheet here. And if I can find Mr. Kilby. Come on, where are you?
And Smokey McBongwater, great name, wants to know if we've spoken about Lagrange yet, but we will be talking about him just after the break here, coming up in just a second.
Okay, so here we go. Now that you've thumpered for me. He in-zone whiff was 7.7. Chase was 7.6. Miss rate was 15%. If you're going to do a savant, those bubbles are, hot tamale level red. But average exit velocity, 91.9. 90th percentile, 104.2. Max at 108.9. Wow. That's not a slap hitter. That's a guy who can turn and burn.
Nice.
So I would get really excited about him. The only thing is, I don't think he's a shortstop. The arm is a little short for that right now. But if you tell me he's an offensive-minded second baseman, you'll be fine with that.
One last word, and I'm not sure how much you know about this guy, but we have a request from the chat. They want to know if you know anything about Tatsuya Imai. What are your thoughts on him?
I will pass. I'm sorry. It's not my bailiwick. That's the answer I always give when they ask me, where would this guy rank had he signed? I have enough trouble dealing with the people that I have to write about. I would say go to Baseball America. Our Jeff Ponce has a good breakdown on him. And needless to say, if the Yankees signed him, it'd be a really good addition to their rotation. I'll just say that.
Sounds good. All right, quick word from the guys at Foul Territory, then back with some sleeper picks as prospects with Jeff Norris of Baseball America. Back in 60 seconds.
I have a unique holiday gift idea. It is called Superpower because, Kratz, they care about you. It's a very unique health platform. It's new, and it finally gets you the answers that you need about what's really happening inside your body and what to do about it.
I got the answers. I'm on the journey of what to do about it. Why would I not want to give it to one of my loved ones in my life?
Give your loved ones something that actually lasts. That's right, Kratz. Better health and more time with you. If you go to superpower.com/gift, you get a free $49 premium gift box with your gifted membership. After you sign up, they'll ask you how you heard about them. Please mention FT to support the show. One simple lab test measures 100 plus biomarkers. We're talking hormones, vitamins, minerals, and so much more. You'll get a full health report and a personalized action plan built by clinicians, including nutrition, supplement, and lifestyle guidance. Get after it, FT fam.
All right. Thanks to the guys at Foul Territory. So, honorable mentions. We talked about 5 players tonight, but there's a lot of guys in the system who I think Yankees fans are interested in. Carlos Lagrange and his big-time fastball. You got the dual right-handers, Cunningham and Ben Hess, who were taken with back-to-back Yankees picks. You got Henry Lalane, who is a big, lanky lefty with a high upside. Caden Kent, who you kind of soured me on a little bit before we got started. We got Brock Selvage, who I saw in spring training a couple years ago, and among others. And then we got Brian Bashman says Harrison Cohen, who had some success in the Yankees system as a relief pitcher, could be lost via the Rule 5 pick. Who is your potential sleeper? Who's the next Cam Schlittler or the next one of these guys from the list who you would keep your eye on?
Well, he's not in the list that you got on your right-hand side of your screen, I'll tell you that.
We can add him.
His name is Mac. I think it's Hewer. I want to say Hoyer, but that's not right. It's Heuer. Big right-hander out of college, throws really hard, got some promising secondaries. I think he's a guy that you get into the system, and you're gonna put your pitching development team to work at him, and you might have a kind of a fire-breathing dragon sort of guy in short order. Obviously, you didn't see him this year. They drafted him, shut him down. But when I talked to some of their people during the summer, it was kind of like, hey, just watch this guy. This guy might be the real deal. And he'll be somewhere in the 11 to 20 range for this. I haven't written it yet, so if you want to hack my computer and try to find it, it's not there.
I don't have the tech skills for that.
Yeah. You could probably find better targets than my computer. But in any case, yeah, that would be the guy that I would kind of zero in on. And you mentioned LeGrand. I think I've said this for 2 or 3 years now. The industry thinks he's Dellin Betances. That's kind of what we're talking about. That's the upside at the very least. And I understand that's not a starter, but that's one of the best relievers in baseball for a very long time. Well, not a very long time, but a long time. And you'll take that every day of the week. I think Yankees fans remember how good Dellin Betances was in that spurt or 4 or 5 years or whatever it was. That's why I have him over Hess, because that kind of impact reliever is a little more valuable, I think, than a 4-starter, which I think is what Hess could be. It's big, kind of not going to knock you out with anything, but he'll eat some innings for you.
Well, what about Roderick Arias? Now, he's somebody that you got a lot of questions about in your chat this morning. I have not been too impressed with him. He was obviously one of those international signees right after Jason Dominguez, who also hasn't become a superstar, but I'm still optimistic that he's going to be a good player. What are your thoughts on Roderick Arias?
He might not even make my 30, quite honest. Like, he has not gotten much better bat to ball. I don't recall him moving to high A this year, that's a sign. If they have you do a full repeat of a level and they don't even move you, that's not great. He's got the same bat to ball problems as Spencer Jones does, but at least Spencer Jones, kind of mashed at the lower levels and eventually at Double A. He showed up out of shape this year. I mean, the thing that he's got going for him right now is he's still the best infield arm in the system. I'll put it that way. But someone asked me, has the ship sailed on him? Yeah, kind of has right now. It's unfortunate, but yeah, he needs, unless he has a super turnaround this offseason, it's kind of hard to see him figuring in the big leagues in any form or fashion.
Well, thanks for the talk and getting us all psyched up about our prospects, Josh. I appreciate it.
Dax Kilby is going to be pretty good. I'll tell you that. And I would keep an eye on Mac Hoyer or Hewer. Bryce Cunningham, I hope he can get to the form that he was before the injury, because the guy before the injury was probably going to be the number 2 or 3 prospect in the system, but it doesn't sound like it was the same guy after the injury, which tends to happen. There's a lot of, if Hampton comes back really good, that's something. If Thatcher Hurd comes back and shows the form that he was, had before he was drafted, that's something. But I would put it this way. The system is pretty shallow outside of the top right now, but it's for good reasons. You graduated a Dominguez. You graduated a Warren. You graduated a Schlittler. You traded all these guys to get pieces to help you. Like, it's not like you didn't have valuable assets. It's just they're gone right now. And just sometimes that happens. There are a lot of systems in worse spots than the Yankees right now.
Well, everybody go read the article in Baseball America from Josh Norris. Top Yankees prospects headed into 2026. And again, use the code PINSTRIPE30 to get 30% off. Josh, thanks. I'm sure we'll talk again next year. and you can bring us all down a level about whoever we get, whoever we draft this year.
Let's just check Twitter to see if anybody's gotten traded. Maybe Scooble got moved.
Maybe to the Yankees for one of their for Spencer Jones. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Check out nydesigns.shop for some great merch. Support our sponsors. It helps keep the show going. And you can find us on all major audio platforms, so be sure to subscribe there too. But most importantly, come back again soon. We'll see you next time.